dear. I'll go ahead and let's start the meeting. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I'm really excited to have our friend Latonia here, who has just aced the PMP exam. Woo!
I'm so excited. Like, I'm still excited. I mean, I'm so excited. I don't know what to do with
I'm
myself.
excited as well. It's been a long time coming, and I tried to inform as many of your friends as I could. You know, some friends are here. Let's go ahead and let's admit some of our friends who are waiting. So some folks have been waiting in the waiting room, and they're coming in now. A lot of our friends are just joining in. I set the meeting up in a different way. I didn't want there to be any passwords to limit people from joining. So welcome, Latonia. How do you feel as a PMP boss?
Let me just tell you, I don't know how I feel right now. Like, I am so excited. I'm super excited. And I just want to start off by saying thank you, Phil. Like, oh my goodness. Wait till I just tell you what this week, leading up to this. I can't wait to share my story because it has been a journey. Without a doubt, it has been a journy.
It has. It has.
But I love me some Phil. I'm gonna tell anybody. All my family know that Phil, that I have my own time with Phil, and every day this week they were calling me because, as I said, I didn't share my news with anyone that I was taking the exam.
Wow.
You did, and of course God knew, but you're the only three that knew what was going on here. So yesterday, when they were calling me this week, I said, it's Phil time. They said, all we ever hear is Phil. We feel like we know Phil. I said, y'all should. Y'all hear his voice all the time. So anyway.
Oh, dear. Well, let's go ahead and our friends on the call, do any of you, okay, we got some unsavory characters here. So let's remove. Yeah, let's see. Okay, very good. So that individual has been removed. Okay, let's see, let's admit. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put everyone into classroom mode since we have some problematic individuals. So let's go ahead and talk about how you got here in the first place, Latonia. What made you want to go ahead and take the exam in the first place?
I have been for several years. I've been working in IT all my career. And over the last couple of years, I've been doing a lot of IT project management work. And I was around a whole lot of IT project managers. You know, everybody put the PMP behind their name at where I work at. So it was something I was interested in doing. You know, I said, I want to enhance my skills. So I just felt like, okay, let's start this journey. I didn't know it was going to be a journey, but I was like, okay, I'm going to move forward, and this is something I want to do. And so I started moving forward, and along this journey, I'm saying it's a journey now because before I met Phil, and I don't know if Phil know this yet, so I'm going to share it with him. But Phil, before I met you, I actually had two other people classes I went to.
Wow.
But I will say, out of all of the training that I had, and I'm not even being funny, this was really one of the best trainings. And I tell anybody, and I'm going to tell everyone that you really made me thoroughly understand the material so that I could go and pass the exam. And for all those who don't know, this was not my first time taking an exam. So let me just share that news with the people on the line. This was not my first time. However, I felt very confident in going to take this exam. I followed what Phil said. I was on his learning management system. I mean, I think I beat it to death this week. This week I took off work. You know, I didn't tell anybody I was taking off work. I stayed in my house. I was like, I'm not gonna let nobody disturb me because I'm gonna go take this test on Friday and I'm gonna pass it. And long behold, I stayed focused. I hit the system. I mean, I was on there a lot. I was listening to Phil and Roy, some of your other videos. And although I've been through the system, I went back through the system, you know, when I first set up the date, just to refresh myself and to make sure that I really understood, because I didn't want to have to go and take this test again. I wasn't going to take it again.
Wow.
So,
wow. Wow.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I'll just like to share one thing. I just want to let everybody know I met PHILL October of last year. I was on his 40-day plan. And just a long story short, I found him on YouTube, all the different videos. And I was like, oh, I like him. I said, let me give him a shot. So anyway, that's how I got connected to him. I did join his 40-day program, 40 days, get your PMP in 40 days. And so, of course, I was excited. He got me excited, back on that excited wagon. And so after that, I was supposed to take the test. I'm gonna share with everybody because I'm not ashamed to say I was scheduled to take the test December before the test changed. That was my goal. And I'm gonna tell everyone I paid for it and all that other good stuff. I got up the morning I was scheduled to take my exam, and I was like, I don't feel confident. I just didn't feel confident in myself. And I was like, I cannot afford to go take this test and fail again. So I was like, I said, I don't care about the money. I'm not doing it. And after that, I sent PHILL an email and I explained everything to PHILL and how I felt. And he was very encouraging. And so I started back with him in January. And then I kind of fell off because life happened. And I kept up with him though. I still occasionally was trying to, check on him, see what was going on his videos and stuff. And then it wasn't until I think the end of June, it was the end of June, I joined your masterclass 3. Right. I think that was the class I was in. Yeah. And then the rest is kind of history. What I will say is that, I saw some of my people who came in the masterclass 3 who just went and took the exam. And I was like, what? I was like, I'm sitting here all this time. What is wrong with me? So, he with them coming back, sharing their stories, and they did it so quickly. I was like, come on, Latonia, you're not focused. You're not doing what you should be doing. And it's time for you to get yourself together, make a decision. So finally, I scheduled the exam. And when I scheduled that exam, PHILL, it worked. I was like, oh, whoa, I got to push everything to the side. And like I said, I just wouldn't tell people what I was doing because I didn't feel like talking about it. But I did turn down a lot of activities so that I can dedicate the time that I felt like I needed in order to come out with a win-win, considering that I was above target in all 3 areas.
That's
so
fantastic.
I would have to say thanks to PHILL. I love your learning management system. I mean, you really helped me out. I mean, I just can't say thanks enough. I love your system. I love how you always put videos out there. I mean, you've been putting so many videos out there, and I just try to always watch the videos and watch them and see what I can learn. And I believe it or not, even as late as this week, I was picking up stuff from you. Oh, just to share with you, I did listen to your calm.
Good.
Yesterday morning, I listened to your calm video, and I said to myself that I'm going to wrap up studying at a certain time. I'm going to finish this day early because either I know it or I don't. And I'm not going to beat myself up. I'm not going to put myself under that pressure. So I listened to that yesterday morning. And I did take I took a couple of the tests, some of your smaller tests.
Yeah, the little ones.
Yeah. And I saw you had a new one out there. Yeah. And I did take that one. I think it's 91 questions.
Yeah.
And so I took that exam. And I think I did the 50 question mock exam. So I did take a couple exams, but I didn't want to do anything too heavy. So I just stayed with that. And then I did a little bit reviewing. So one of the things that I did, let me just show you what I usually do in my studying. And I know everyone cannot see this, but PHILL, you remember how you used to tell us we need to learn, I think that's page 25. So yeah, I took it further. So not only was I doing page 25, but remember, you told us to write out the 353. So I know you can't see it, but I did the 353 every day. So when I made the commitment to do this, as I said in July, I got really focused in September, but when I did it, I started writing out the 353 in our agile world. And I wrote out everything, like what the product owner does, with the scrum master, the dev team.
Good.
I mean, and I took it up a step further where I did the situational leadership. Remember that?
Yeah.
I did the in our agile book, I did the Stacy isn't that the
complexity? Stacy
yes,
complexity model.
So there were some things that I did for myself just to make sure that I knew the basics. So that was a part of my studying every day. Before I started out actually going onto your system, I actually took the time to write out, and you can see it's front and back page.
I would love for you to take a photo when we get done and just post it or send it to me so I can. Yeah, you are in the group. You are in the Facebook group. So yeah, if you can post it there, everyone can see. And wow, it's been a journey, Latonia. Look, when I got your email, I said, "There's no way I'm going to let today go by without having the lessons learned," because I got really excited. I see that we now have our legitimate friends in the room, because that's the problem with Zoom. That's why I don't invite all and sundry. This is like one of the first meetings that we've invited a number of anyone who wants to join. And there you see, we have some, anyway, I'm not going to go into that, but I'm really grateful that we now have our friends with us. So I think it's safe to go ahead and unmute now that we have real people in the room. And if either of you wants to go ahead and just give a shout out to Latonia or ask a question or two, why don't you go ahead and do that? I see Celeste and Rona and Mary, Michelle, and Vicky. I'm so glad you joined, Vicky, because I've really been wanting you to join our sessions. So let's go ahead. If you want to go ahead and unmute, or you want to put a chat in the chat box, why don't you go ahead and do that? Questions, concerns? Michelle?
Hi, this is Michelle Rivers. So congratulations. I understand the stress and the excitement and the feel of relief trying, passing the PMP. I'm just going to say, I tried to take the exam back in 2018 and bombed, but I've always had a goal to accomplish getting the certification. One of my questions to you is, so I get stuck, and Phil will know what I'm talking about because I found Phil, or he actually found me. But anyway, I get stuck on the actual verbiage within the PMBOK and making sure I understand, connecting the tools and techniques to the inputs and outputs. So when it comes to the learning management system of PHILL's, when I'm doing those, I do miss 2-3 questions because I'm not able to actually make the connection verbally or with the verbiage in the PMBOK. Did you ever experience anything like that where, you knew what you were doing, but to add the PMBOK language to the process or to the question to figure out the answer, did you ever have any issues with that?
Actually, no, but what I will say is, for me, the key thing was making sure I could talk it out and thoroughly understand. Yeah, I will read. Yes, first of all, let me share. I have been through the PMBOK twice. I have been through it twice. What I will say is my focus was to understand the key, especially with the tools and techniques, at least the key tools and techniques, understand the inputs and outputs. Because once you really I don't know when I figured it out, but once I figured it out, as far as those inputs and outputs and tools and technique, I was like, I got it. So for me, I think it has been practicing. Phil also has a not a video, but he has an audio, and I would listen to that every day. So it would make me think. Phil, the audio I'm talking about is the one where you give us we go through all of the processes, and you ask us questions for, what are the tools, or what are the inputs and outputs. I don't know if you still use that, but that was something I also use as well. And so as late as this week, I listened to that. And so it gave me a chance to think, because one thing I learned from taking the exam, you have to really understand. You can't just say, oh, I'm just memorize. You can't memorize because that doesn't work. In my opinion, it didn't work for me. So that's why I said when I met Phil, he really taught me or helped me really understand the PMBOK world. You know, and Agile wasn't that bad, but you asked about the PMBOK. So to answer your question, and you know, I really just learned how to understand. And once I understood it, I was good to go. That may not have answered your question, but practice, I will say practice and try to talk it out to yourself. Talking it out, I think helps. So that's what kind of helped for me.
Good stuff. Thank you for the question, Michelle. And as far as the ITTOs and the exam, Latonia, what is your first impression, like just coming out? I know the ITTOs are important, but how should one relate in one's mind going into the exam? What do I need to know about ITTOs? How do I need to position myself towards the ITTOs?
If you know, I say this, am I allowed to say, because I took it the first time and then I took it this time.
Oh, Latonia, you're on mute. I'm sorry. You can go ahead and unmute. Sorry, my bad.
As I said, because I had taken it once and then I had an opportunity, even though it was several years ago, and I took it this time, I just didn't notice. I didn't notice a lot of the ITOs. I always say ITOs. That's what I always say for inputs, outputs, twos, and techniques. So anyway, I just didn't notice a lot, if any. I just really didn't. Yeah, there were some predictive questions, and you knew when it was, just like I thought it was they helped you out a little bit because you knew when it was hybrid, because they mentioned the word hybrid in whatever question they were asking. So that's why I said I think they helped you out, because I could tell when it was predictive, hybrid, or agile. But I will say I had more agile than I had of the predictive world.
Okay.
So I just think knowing them, I didn't have a lot of questions where they asked about it.
Gotcha. Good. That's good to know, because I know a lot of folks are really, particular about memorizing the ITTOs, and you don't have to. You don't have to memorize them, and that's kind of been the narrative. Very good. I want to go through the list of our friends here, and I'm really excited they joined us. So I know Celeste, Rona, Mary's joined us from Germany. And Vicky, I'm really glad that you joined. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask you if you would like to speak. Just let me know, just a show of hands, or just use the emoticons below, and I'll unmute you, and I'll ask you to comment. Okay, so let's talk to Celeste. Celeste, I think you can unmute. Hey there, Celeste, how you doing?
Hello.
Hi there.
Hey, Celeste.
Hey, Latonia, congratulations.
Thank you.
She's all happy.
I'm so excited. Like, y'all don't know how excited I am.
Oh, no, that's awesome. I'm kind of in the same boat too. This is something that I had started, a couple of years ago as well. And then I ended up getting deployed. Life got in the way, and it's just kind of a one delay. And then I had also taken another class, and that was just, it just felt like a complete fire hose effect. Really wasn't getting anything. I'm like, I'm not understanding. But yes, I completely agree. It's like I feel like the light bulb is turning on because of Phil, and because of his ability to be able to articulate and break down all these things. So now it's like, okay, it's really up to me. And I have found that, life just keeps getting in the way. But I have really, buckled down with this. And I agree, but I'm sorry, who was speaking before me? Michelle. So Michelle was like, reading the language presented in the PMBOK, and it's hard to kind of put those things into layman's terms. It really is, because, which kind of goes back to what Latonia was saying. It's like, if you don't paraphrase in your own words, you're not going to get it. And even in my studying now, I'll like read something, or like questions have been helping me like tremendously. And I actually have your, PM Succeed masterclass up right now because I'm going through stuff. It's like, I'll read something, but I'll have to like say it out loud in my own words. You know what I mean? And then it's like, oh, okay. Then the light goes on. But if the light doesn't go on, you can't move forward from that, because that means that you're not going to get it when you see it in a question. But I have found that going through the sample questions has just been really tremendous for me. And then you go through and you read why it is what it is. You know what I mean? Even go back through, I'm going back through all the ones that I've got correct.
Good.
To make sure that, okay, I wasn't just like doing like a wild guess. And if I did and I got it right, what was it about that, answer that made me kind of tune into that? So that's been helping me a lot. And that actually was a question that Latonia actually answered, because I was going to ask her like how much, kind of like what was the questions mostly comprised of. And it seems like it was more agile. I feel like I'm concentrating a bit more on the knowledge areas, and I probably feel like I need to get more to like the agile. But because there's so much information, I feel sometimes lost and overwhelmed. I did schedule my test because I figured that was the only thing that was going to get me to, but I scheduled it for December 13th. I don't know. I may end up pushing it. I don't know.
No, don't change it. Don't change it. I know I shouldn't say it, but don't change it. I'm telling you, it does. As Phil shared with us in class before, you pick a date and work toward that date. Because if you keep putting it off, say, oh, I'm gonna schedule it. Oh, wait a minute. If you don't really actually schedule and work toward it, and that's what worked for me. Instead of thinking about it in my mind, I actually went to the site and put it out there in the site. And once it was on that site and I saw how long I had, that made me say, okay, you know what you have to do. So for me, that's what I did. But as far as, I heard you say that, it seemed it could be overwhelming with the material, but on Phil's site, once again, here we go. See, I had all these little cheat notes. So Phil has, you have this on your site. And what I did is I copy, cut and paste, and I put this little sheet up here for me. So I don't know if it would help you, but I had days where I used this as my 12 keys to the PMP exam success. This is what I use. This is right there on Phil's learning management system. So you can, for me, I work from this as well. But something else I also did is, and I think I heard Phil say this in one of his videos, like in the morning. This was later on, when I heard you say this, Phil, but you were saying you can study, let's just say PMBOK in the morning. Right. And then maybe for lunch you can do something. You said, I can't remember exactly what you said, but when you said it like that, I was like, okay, maybe I'll try in the morning. I would listen to your video and I would try to do my cheat sheet that I just showed you guys. I would do that. So I would break it up and I would focus on, PMP stuff. But this week, honestly and truly, a lot of my focus went more on agile.
Good.
Because I felt very good about not PMP, about the PMBOK, the predictive side. I felt pretty good about that. So this week I really focused a lot on agile. Just going back and listening to you and Roy talk.
Roy, yeah, you watch Roy's videos, huh?
Yes,
right?
Yes. I watched.
And you were in class with us as well for some of them.
I was in class, and so just going back and listening to them. But I will say, Celeste, as far as taking the exam, the mock exams that Phil has on his system. That's what I would do. When I took the exam and I got the my results back, I did both. I went through all questions, regardless whether I got them right or wrong, just to make sure I thoroughly understood. Because sometimes I think I just took a guess and I was like, And then Phil challenges us. He challenges us a lot because he said, I was looking at the mock exam, the 4 out or the the mock exam was 200 questions. I think it's 200 or 180. I can't remember. But anyway, I took that exam, Phil, and you said try to get 90. So the first time I took the 4-hour exam, I was like, I got a 70. And for me, that wasn't good enough. So I took it again and I got an 80. Wow. And I felt a little better. And so that brought me into this week. And I was like, I'm not taking that exam again. I took it Sunday. I was like, I think I got this. So that's when I started taking some of your other exams.
Good.
And so for the most part, I think it was that really, really honed in on me and really made it get even further into my head. So that's what I was saying. Just practicing. And I felt like the more exams I took, the better it helped me with, especially with my scores, even though I wasn't tripping off. I was kind of tripping off the scores in my own world, but I wasn't tripping like that because, you know, this week I was hitting 80s and 90s. I was like, yes, I said, come on, I'm going to do this thing on Friday. So I was excited this week because I was hitting good scores on the exam, but I understood though. I will say that I did understand.
I'm happy because that's one of the advantages of taking the exam this year. I know Agile was not as upplayed last year. Now this year you got into it and you're doing the 3-5-3 and you're writing it all out. So that is just phenomenal. Really excited about that. Very good.
All I use is these 2 books because, you know, for a minute there, I wanted to, let me just share this. We were going on, I was on PMI's website. They have something that you can purchase for $100 to take. And so let me tell you, for a minute there, I was like, ooh, should I go do that? But then I heard you in my head saying, all you need is the learning management system. And you need these books right here, which I have. And that's all I kept saying to myself. Don't go spend no $100 if you don't have to. You just listen to what Phil said, follow what Phil said, because he's been hitting the home run. So far this year, you've been hitting the home run with all your students. So I was like, oh, I'm just going to follow what Phil said. So I didn't purchase it. But I'm just saying, I came close, but I was like,
you know, my friends at PMI, I got to give it to them. You know, they got a very powerful marketing team. And, you know, even after you get certified, they keep asking, hey, you want a few PDUs? You can join this. You could. And, you know, I understand they're trying to keep people, you know, on the straight and narrow. But, hey, our learning management system. Hey, listen.
That's all I use is the learning management. That's all I use.
Listen to me. You don't need any other material. Look, right here, we have the PM Essentials. If you need another book, if you're like, I need a book. Well,
I had the PDF version. I had your PDF version.
Yes. Look, all the way up to a comic. I mean, who creates a comic for PMP training? We do everything from audio to video to comics to templates. So those of you out there that are struggling, I'm telling you, you need to jump on the bandwagon and let's help you. And look at Latonia, PMP boss in the building, and everyone on this call, they're all going to be PMP bosses in no time.
I can't wait till y'all join me. But I'm glad it's over. I'm going to say that. I am super excited it's over, but it has been well worth it. And I'm going to always brag on Phil. And I'm not just saying this because you guys are on the phone, but if you could talk to anyone in my family, honestly and truly, I would say that they know who Phil is.
Oh,
he's my coach.
Thank you.
And I tell everybody, I think if I wouldn't have met him, I'm not so sure I would have my PMP today. And I honestly mean that. And I'm not just saying that, but I can't wait to get back to work. I've been off all this week. Wait till I go back to work on Monday. I'm really like, who helped you? I can't wait to tell them because I have all your information. And it's so funny because when I came out, after I finished my exam, and let me tell you this right quick, and then I'll be done. I know I can't take a very much time, but I'm a talker, so I do apologize. So in taking the mock exam, your mock exams, I will always have a little time to spare. Well, today I was like, whoa, I looked at the clock and I was like, wait a minute. I had tried to do math in my head and I was still a little nervous. And I was like, wait a minute, the math is not going in my head very well right now, but I know I need to move a little faster so that I can finish on time. And I had like a minute and something left. And I had some things to go back on. And I was like, I'm not going back. Because when you start going back, you just mess up. I marked.
Yeah.
answered the questions, but I marked them. So you know what I said? I'm not doing it. I'm just going to hit the submit button and I'm going to move forward. When I hit that submit button and saw it, congratulations. I was just like, I couldn't make any noise because I was in a test. I went to a testing center for all those who'd like to know. I went to a testing center. So I was in a testing center. They give you earphones to put on. And they did give us 2 breaks. I didn't really go anywhere because if I had left out to come back in, I had to do another pat myself down, pull up the sleeves, turn your head. I was like, I don't have time. She said, every time you go out, this is what you have to do. So I said, I said to myself, when it's time for a break, you just gonna stand up, you're gonna walk in that little area, you're gonna sit yourself back down and get ready to start. So, and so when you get ready to start the exam, if you choose to take a break, you raise your hand, and then the proctor has to come in and sign you back in to take the exam.
Did you have to wear a mask all throughout?
Oh, yes. And actually it was pretty crowded. And I mean, I know they offer more exams other than the PMP, but I was number 8. I got there at 7:30. They asked for us to get there a half hour early. And let me rewind just a little bit. The week before, I did a dry run of where I had to go. And because I live in the Washington metropolitan area, and because I had to go in downtown DC, I'm familiar with parking, and I know parking isn't that readily available. So let me find myself a garage or something. So I just wanted to plan it all out. So last Saturday, I drove around. I saw the location. I found the parking lot, which was right under the building. So all I had to do is get out of my car and walk up, and I was good to go. But other than that, I had planned everything out. I said to myself, I was going to listen to your calm video. I had a plan like leading up to here. I actually jotted down a list of things to do, and I did everything I said I was going to do. And I was very calm. And something else I told myself, I'm not looking at nothing this morning because either I know it or I don't. And when I start looking at stuff, sometimes it just it will mess me up. So I just got up, did my devotion, got myself out the door and got there and was like ready. I was very calm because I was like, I'm going to pass this exam.
And you did, and pass you did. Yeah, excellent. So Celeste, I hope you received some kind of inspiration here from what Latonia has said.
No, absolutely. It's very, very, very helpful. One quick question: Were you allowed, since you went to the testing center, to have any kind of like a scratch paper?
But you don't need. I mean, that's what I thought. Back in the old days, we had a scratch paper because we wrote down the formulas. And can I say am I allowed to say I didn't have that one?
Yeah, say it.
I didn't have nothing that dealt with a formula.
Yeah.
I didn't have anything. I had nothing. I didn't have to work any formulas. So I can tell you all of the formulas in my head because I also was writing those down every day. But I didn't have anything. And back in the day, when I took it the first time, I did have a sheet and I did write down all that stuff. But today they didn't offer it. And I felt like I didn't need it because I'm already wrote it down every single day leading up to this point. And if I didn't have it in my head, then something was wrong with me. So I'm just telling you, you're probably not going to need it. At least they didn't give me the option. She didn't ask me nothing. She just took me back there, did what we had to do, and set myself down. So she didn't give me anything to write with. And I didn't ask because as I said, I didn't need it.
Wow. So no board, no paper, no pen. That's strange. They typically do though. But yeah, you didn't even need it. Wow.
Maybe you have to ask. I don't know. I'm just saying for me.
Calculator? Any calculator?
It was on the computer.
Oh, on the computer. Yeah. Okay.
And you can go through the computer instructions if you want, but a computer is a computer. I was like, why do I need to go through this? I don't need to go through this. Why am I going to go through this?
Yeah, you'll be amazed. You'll be amazed, Latonia. There was a student of mine way back 2006, 2005 in Honeywell, my colleague, because I was mentoring them. And he said, Phil, I got into the exam and I didn't know how to go back to questions to see what I marked. And then he said, I didn't even know how to use the strikeout. And I'm like, all this stuff was there, but apparently, I don't know whether it was under panic and didn't know.
You should take your time and read it. But what I will say is on the screen.
It's on the screen, yeah. I didn't read. Yeah, I didn't do that. And it's funny because I've taken the exam an exam with PMI so many times. I've taken the CAP, PMP, SP, RMP, ACP, OPM3. So I felt, there's no need until someone said, did you know that there's a strikeout tool? This was actually after about 5 or 6 years of taking. I'm like, where? So I didn't read the instructions, but I get what you're saying. This is great. Thank you, Celeste. Let's see who else has questions. Do you want to show with hands if you have any questions or something to say? Vicky, I'm going to unmute you because I've been wondering where you've been. Yeah. So let's talk to Vicky. Vicky, how are you?
Hey, I am doing well. And thank you for your talk, Latonia, and yours, Celeste. I have went through for this year because I took, I love to tell a story because it always tells people what's going on in your life and it helps them. Okay. So when I took my educational courses was in 2020 for January through April, and the last 3 were under COVID. So we had to do them from home. My computer crashed out on the second attempt and it just went out, and it wasn't my only computer. And so I told the teacher immediately, I said, my computer just stopped. And he said, what, you didn't like your grade? And I didn't know what to think. And I said, well, I haven't looked yet because I just assumed I'd failed it, because I wasn't through. I went on there and I had a 94. How I did that, I don't know, but I wasn't not going to question it. That was on the courses, on the educational 35 hours. And so then I was part of the rapid improvement event for Kennestone Hospital, where I work as a operations data analyst. And we started a rapid improvement event from August until December. That kind of blocked me. It was like her being on deployment. I was putting in lots and lots of overtime. And so I didn't take it because I just was straddled with that. So I did the first test in January this year.
Okay.
Failed it on all 3 sections. And it surprised me. It shocked me because I know I have a lot more than that. And then I realized what they had done. They had changed it to include Agile, but I didn't even know what Agile was really, other than that I experienced it for August through December. And I was part of it. But as far as terminology and knowing things, I couldn't do it right by myself. So, then, I'm going to try again. So I started finding out more and more. I didn't have PHILL at that time. And I'm shaking my head. I don't have my video on. I don't know how I can click it anyway, but
you could. It's that button with the video thing.
Well, let's see.
Somewhere down below.
Down below. Okay.
Yeah, if you want, but let me make you I'll make you a co-host, and in that way you can, if you want to. Yeah, so you should see a kind of video button. Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Hey.
Okay. There she is.
Finally. I'm so glad to be here with you, PHILL. So in April, when it started, when I said, okay, I'm gonna go in there and kick it, and I felt okay. Well, when I looked, it said that raised above on the business side.
Okay.
I passed the processes, but I failed the people. I said, I'm one of the best people in the whole hospital, and everybody comes to me. What is wrong with that? And so I was in shock. So anyway, I'm still to take the 3rd exam, and I was ready to just go ahead and schedule it for December before it changed, and thinking that it is going to change. And I just found out right before logging on to your event that out of the 4th time that I've asked somebody, there possibly it will include some of 7. So that was not from the PMI people, but it was from the other people. I don't know if I should say anything, but yes. So anyway, I've got that book. I've got 7.
Oh, you got the 7. Oh dear.
I've got it. I've got that. Now,
Oh,
I
dear.
had briefly, you see this book.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay. It's all broken up. This is how I function. I broke it all apart, put it into a binder. So
Oh,
what
dear.
did I do with the 6?
Oh,
Okay.
my. Wow.
So it is sectioned out and everything. Okay. And this is
Wow.
how I train my students. When I said, I want you to have something to write on, you're going to learn and we're going to do it right, hands on. So
Yeah.
that's what I do with them. But here I am, I overkill and I overachieve to the discredit, to my own detriment sometimes. But what I'm now doing, I was ready to schedule it just the other day, but my son went into the hospital last Wednesday and he's not out yet. They have him intubated. And so,
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my.
with the kidney failures and stuff like that, just started.
I'm so sorry to hear that. Oh, my gosh.
Thank you. It has thrown me for a loop, and going to the hospital back and forth right now is it's 40 miles away from here. He's a Navy veteran. And so with all those kind of things that goes on as well. In a drive 2 hours. So everybody knows about drive time. So I feel like I have little time to do a lot of stuff, but I focus so much that I've even bought a fish. And that fish is named Focus. Okay.
Do you know about the fishbowl window concept, Vicky? Have you heard of the fishbowl window in Agile? Latonia, you want to tell her?
I have heard about it, but I didn't know really what it was.
I could tell exactly where it is.
Go on, go for it.
If you go to your Agile practice guide, I could tell you exactly what it is because I think it's on page 46. And it's team workspace. I can tell you certain pages I stayed on. So I do it. And you read it and you'll know about the fishbowl. And it also tell you about pairing as well. Yes.
Oh, I've got, yesterday I had to go to the laundromat and I don't waste time. Okay. I don't sit. I took my book. I had PHILL on the table and he was going over something. And here I go through this page and make sure you do this page. And you see all that green, green tells you everything he hit in those 30 minutes that I had to spare. So yes, Latonia, we do it. And because we have to. At the hospital where I work, when we did the rapid improvement event, which we deal with discharging patients fast as we can and not have any last minute things. And so that's always my kind of projects. I'm a data analyst, so I pull numbers everywhere and show who's to blame and who's not to blame and things like that. So during all that, I got to know the people from the Lean Six Sigma teams and the Scrum and everybody that's in our hospital system. And so when I told them, hey, I'm in process for my PMP certification, they were shocked. They said, you are? Do you know? And this is what it just blew my mind. They said, if you get that, you'll have more certification than we do. I didn't understand what they were saying back then. That was last year. And so you better bet I am. Because we do that. We girls kick it, right? Yes. And with the help, yes, we do. And because I do teach people, and I like you said, I have to teach it, and I teach people computers since 1995 and before. So I personally go to them and I train them. Now this is what you wouldn't expect, and it's not tattletelling, okay? But in a big organization like I'm in, you would be surprised at how many people don't know how to click on a filter button on an Excel spreadsheet. Okay.
Yeah.
So those are the people that I teach.
Okay.
In Excel, because that's my expertise is Excel. Okay. And so Phil, there was one of the things I kept looking for, and I said, something's got to talk to my brain. I finally found something online about 2 weeks ago, and it was it was really old. I think he was talking about edition 2. And it was Excel. It was in earned value, and it was in Excel format. And when I looked at that, I could put these numbers, this formula here, and I could watch it in motion. That is what hit me hard. I said, I got it. I got it, because the numbers, the formulas, and everything tortured me.
Oh dear.
And that's what I was terrified of. But like she said, when I got there, and it was all basically what I said. What did I say? Not 80 or 90%. It was situational. The other and the very, very, very long questions to me. And I said, I reread them 3 times. And then I found myself at the last time getting to 40 questions left. And I had about 10 minutes or 15. And I said, I ain't going to get it. So I know that was part of my problem as well. And now my last thing I'm going to tell you about, Phil, on one of your things you said, when you are preparing to take your exam, be sure you see this feature that says accommodations. I had never seen that. If it was on the first 2 times, I didn't see it, or else I overlooked it, because I thought, working in the medical industry, accommodations is a wheelchair or some other feature like that. But what I did when I read it, and what you said in there, you could even have an extended time allowed if you do the accommodations. And because I do have a good friend who is a psychologist that I work with, we do guardianship cases, and I have him involved. And so he was able to help me out on that.
Oh, lovely.
So I'm hoping that is going to help me when I take it, shortly, whatever time I can do that after my son gets better. But you have been such a blessing in these last few months since April that you rode with me to Muscle Shoals, Alabama, because I'm a
best friend. He goes everywhere with you, and you hear me. Go ahead. That's what I did. I heard him all the time. In my head.
That is exactly right. And so I put you overhead in my truck, and my friend he's the musician. We're all musicians.
Are you? What do you play? What do you play?
I play piano. I play guitar.
I play piano. Yeah, I'm a musician
I heard
too.
you. I heard that, and I loved it. And
I've got to jam one of these days.
Oh, I would love it. My living room is wonderful there. So I have recorded, and I've also been president of Georgia Music Industry Association.
Are you kidding me?
No. So I do all of that, and that's what I'm saying. I have all these projects that I put together.
I feel you.
The original songwriters all together, 19 of them on one CD.
Wow.
And it went out to Best Buy. So projects.
Wow.
I love them.
That is crazy.
So, and he said, my friend says, I can tell you one thing that man says that he remembers. And I said, okay, tell me. He said, ready? 4, 3, 2, 1. And that's all he could remember. So I thought
that is hilarious. That's the funniest I've ever heard about what I said. That is funny.
I thought you're probably going to think about it every time now.
Oh dear. It didn't click until you were done. He's talking about the quizzes. Oh, that's ridiculous.
I heard her mention something about the mock quizzes. I haven't got that far. I need that link. Because I've been using another quiz kind of application, which has really been good, and I can print it and everything. So I need that help right now.
Don't waste your time, Vicky. Look, I've been trying to get hold of you for the past 2 months. I've been like, what? Okay. Does she read her emails?
Yeah.
I've sent you email, and I wanted you to join us on the last because you bought a special package that allows you to attend some of our sessions. I'm like, how on earth am I going to get her to join? If I can't, even the dog is agreeing. If I can't get her to be on the call. So I'm really glad that Latonia has brought us together for you to be on this.
Yes.
do me a favor and send me your contact info, because I need
Well,
to get you on our next boot
I
camp.
did. That's how I got it. I saw the email today for the first time.
But I've sent you scores of other emails.
I haven't seen them.
Vicky, contact me. Vicky, and then even on YouTube.
On the YouTube, but then I couldn't figure out how to get to your email.
Okay, do me a favor, Vicky. Can you just put it in a chat somewhere and send me your number, so that if you don't get the email, because if I don't see you sign up, I'm calling you, because we're having another boot camp in a couple of weeks, and it's one of those grand finale ones. And I need you to be on it, because you got the 6-month plan, and the 6-month plan gives perks. And one of the perks is to be on at least one boot camp with us. And I've been like, how do I get her to take advantage of what she paid for?
Well,
I'm just like, okay, I was getting frustrated. I was out in the UK since my trip to the UK way back August. I've been trying to get hold of you. So I'm glad that Latonia's passing the exam has brought us.
I am too. And it's just, it just boosted my morale about it, and everything that's going on. Lovely. So can I send it in this text message?
Please do.
And you I will send you my email.
Absolutely.
So that you have it yourself.
And your phone number, so that I can track you down. If I don't see you on that call, on the 22nd and 23rd, I'm going to be calling you, Vicky.
Good. Good. If any of the others of you want to send me a chat as well, I would appreciate it, because I don't have any support personally other than y'all right now about this.
You know what? I will. So I'm going to help you. I will. If you putting it in the chat, I would definitely do it. Okay.
Thank you, Latonia. Latonia is a true boss, and appreciate that. And Vicky, are you on Facebook?
Yes, I am.
You should join our group. We have a whole lot of support there.
I will do that.
So I've just sent you a link to our bosses group. It's exclusive. There's no spamming or anything. It's only for individuals that have joined one of our live programs, and who have signed up to be part of our community. So please hit that link, join us. Latonia is on there, and a lot of our other friends who are on the call are on there. Celeste is on there, Rona's on there, Mary's on there. Michelle, if you want to join us as well, Michelle, you're free to join us if you're on Facebook. There's the link. If you want to join us, please go ahead and do so. It'll be really nice to have you on that. We got quality individuals on that forum, people who passed the exam and are dominating in the PM space, medical field, engineering field, you name it. They're all there, the bosses. There's Michelle.
Before we close out, I just have, I'm not saying we're closing out, but I want to share one thing with the group. And Phil, I just saw this week, but maybe it will help someone else who's getting prepared to take the exam. I saw the other day where you actually did a schedule. It was like, okay, so this is a project. I know you do a lot, but I think you did it this week because I liked it. I was like, well, it's too late now, Phil. I'm going to take it. But what I will share with the group is on that project schedule that Phil did. And I think he has it. I think he said he put it in different formats. So you can go look PDF, Excel, it may even be in Microsoft Project itself. But in there, he actually he created a schedule. And on that schedule, it has everything. Like Phil, you had everything in there, from the PMP to Agile to the different things you need. You had so much. I was like, but it was too late for me. But I'm just saying, for the other folks who are on this call right now, maybe it may be something they might want to go and look up just to help them keep somebody accountable. I think what you did the other day, I think that would definitely help without a doubt.
That's a great call. Thank you.
Do you remember what you did? I know you do a lot, but you did it the other day, Phil. I can't remember which day you did it, but you actually went through, and I thought you said you put it. You did it. That's all I remember.
It's in the chat. I put it in the chat right now. So anyone who wants it, just hit that link. It'll ask you to kind of subscribe. Go ahead and do that, and you'll be able to take advantage. So thank you, Vicky, for coming on and speaking to us. And I'm really glad that Latonia's passing the exam has finally.
Yes.
A blessing.
And Vicky, can I tell you one thing? And I don't know if Phil knew this. Today was my 3rd time taking an exam. Hence why I didn't want to go take it in. That's why I didn't do December, because I want to go strikes out. So today, Vicky, if it makes you feel better, today was my 3rd time, but it's okay. We did it, and I didn't give up. So
And
don't you give up.
You did tell me when you came aboard that, you know, you're taking it. And yeah, but I didn't really understand why the hesitation to the degree, because I was like, Latonia, you're ready, jump and do it. Latonia, you're ready, jump and do it. And I kept telling other people at Praizion, she's ready. Why isn't she doing it? Right? And I'm like, okay, I don't know why. Maybe she likes agile. Okay, let's find out.
Yeah,
and
so
now I really understand the reason. And
yeah,
I'm
I didn't share
excited.
that little secret. I was like, oh, I was a little embarrassed. I was like, I can't believe I took a test and failed the second time. So I was like, that was just unbelievable, because in the past I've taken up without exams, certification.
Yeah.
I was like, I ain't no dumb person. I said, PMP. They challenged me. So with your help, I did it. I'm excited, and I'm going to celebrate in a few minutes.
Oh, wow. Well, look, I'm sorry for holding you back. I know you're paying it forward. I know you're paying it forward, and I'm really appreciative of it. And thank you, Vicky, for coming on and asking your questions. I'm going to ask anyone else if you have any questions. Why don't you? So, Mary, I know out in Germany it's a little bit late, but if you want to ask a question, I will unmute you to ask the question. I don't want to put you on the spot. But does anyone else have any question? Rona, if you got a question, I'll unmute you so you can ask. But I want us to get into some of the meat of the exam, if you don't mind us going there real quick. Latonia, I promise I will not take too much more time, but this is important. It's the rites of passage. So we have to go through your experience. So now you've told us why you did the PMP. I know you work kind of in government a little bit, or you did?
Yes,
Which
I work for the good old federal government. Treasury, good old IRS, Internal Revenue Service.
Double trouble.
I know that's a lot, but that's who I work.
Double trouble. Okay, you gotta get your ducks in a row if you are there. No wonder you really wanted to do this, because I've got an awful number of individuals in government that have killed the exam so well, and they're able to gravitate towards it because government uses a lot of process, and they can just see and get into that thing. So going into how you studied for the exam, you pretty much told us. Now, the last 2 weeks before, how many hours a day would you say you were putting in the final 2 weeks leading up to the exam, roughly?
Maybe I'll say, really be honest with you, up to 8 hours, because I was trying to within my work schedule.
Wow.
I actually created meetings, but my meetings were study time.
Wow.
I actually created those meetings so that it wouldn't disturb. So they would give me a chance to study during the day and not just in the evening. So I would break it up. I wouldn't do the whole 8 hours straight. I would break it up. Even this week, when I would say 6 to 8 this week as well. And I was off work this week, but what I did do is I would do so much in the morning. I would take a break, relax, and then I'll come back and do some more, because I didn't want to feel overwhelmed. I didn't want to feel overwhelmed, and that was the bottom line. I was just like, okay, so I'm gonna break it up. But to answer your question, I would say at least 8 hours.
Consistent for the last. So if you multiply that, folks, I'm just trying to get people to get into that zone, that lockdown zone of fully in 2 weeks before. Multiply 8 by what? 8 times 7, 56. Wow, that's a boatload of hours. Even if it was 6, that's almost going into the 80s, 90s, and 100 hours. So that's the kind of dedication I would recommend. I did similar. So I would recommend, if you want to take the exam 2 weeks out, knuckle down and just do what you got to do. Block out the world. Block out the world. A lot of people not blocking out the world. So I know you talked about how you were kind of studying the chapters using breakfast, dinner, supper towards the end as a good idea. But were you methodically going through chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then when it came to agile, how did you study the agile? If you can answer real quick.
Sure. As far as the predictive piece, to answer the first part of the question, I actually did, through your learning management system, I went 1 all the way to the end of the book. So yes, that's how I did it for predictive piece. For agile, this book is really, really easy to read. So what I did for the agile piece, believe it or not, because you can read this book in 1 day. I'm being very honest. I'm not even playing. It's an easy read. When you think about the good old PMBOK book and you look at this book, I read this book several times, to be honest with you. And I actually enjoy reading it. And I really have learned a lot reading this book. So for the agile piece between reading this book, and you know what I did? You told us on your piece of paper to study these definitions. So I would study the definitions. You remember how you said, like, learn 10 a day, and in so many days you would have all of them. So I also studied the definitions in the back of this book, along with listening to the videos from you and Phil. From you and Roy.
Sorry, yeah, they mix us up. It's all good. I've become a clone of Roy. Roy's my coach, so I've become a clone of Roy, and he's taught me so much stuff in the world of agile. So what did you do the night before?
As I shared yesterday, I got up. The first thing I did was I listened to your calm video, which I think everybody should go out. It's on YouTube, and you should listen to that the day before you go to your schedule to take your exam. As I shared, I did a couple of practice from your learning management system. I did a couple of practice mock exams. I did a couple of those. I ended my day of studying maybe about 8. And I know that was it was later than what I actually intended on stopping, but I did end it at 8. And I just made sure I had a night. That's because I stopped in between of what I wanted to accomplish. I made a list of what I wanted to do yesterday, and I checked off everything. And in between, I broke it up and had to go prepare dinner and all that other stuff. So that's really why I finished at 8. But then I stopped. Good. I got on the phone, talked to one of my line sisters, and so I didn't even think about it no more. I just talked to her to the end of the night. She don't know she kept my company, and that, to stop me from doing anything else.
Good, yeah.
And so I just relaxed, because I remember from people sharing in the past, from you telling us, you just want to relax. You don't want to. For me, I couldn't stay up all night and try to study, because, like I said, either I had it or I didn't. Right. And so about 8 o'clock, I think I stopped. And I put everything up, and I just relaxed.
Good. Look, Latonia, I'm going to have to call you back again. So I know we're doing this for today.
Okay.
But look, you got no idea. We've been on this journey for like
a year.
On
and on. Because my cousin said, "Well, you done been on that." That's what she had the nerve to say. Well, about a year or so. I said, "Excuse me." I had to explain to her that I had intermissions in between.
Oh dear, your cousin's very cheeky. That's very, very naughty to say. A lot of us go through stuff, but no one knows from the outside. They just think, "Oh, you spent too long." No, I've got stuff going on. I've got work, life. Hello. So let's talk about how you mastered people, process, business, agile, hybrid, predictive. You've talked about agile. Predictive is pretty clear. Talk about the juggling of this people, process, business stuff. How did you really say, okay, I know I've got people down, and were you taking them on one by one, or did it just come together whoop all of a sudden? How did it work?
No, actually, here we go again. Remember, you shared with us that you have to understand what it is that's going to be on the exam. So wait a minute, I'm trying to show you what I did.
And I know you came for our boot camps. I know you came for the immersion boot camp.
Right. So I did along with the emergent boot camps. I also had this right here. And remember how you went through this?
Yeah.
And I marked it up. You can't see stuff. But anyway, I went through this. I highlighted, as you said, for the people piece, this is where you should look at. So I actually, when I made the decision to do it, to take the exam, I actually went on your system, and I went back through the people, process, and the business. I also took those exams on
really good.
Process. Yeah, on your.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so that's how I did it. I utilized here pages you told me I should look, and I made sure I understood everything you said we need to know. Good. And there was another one of your videos when you said you pointed out things we need to know, and I took notes on that. So that's how I manage all of those through your learning management system, pretty much.
Yeah,
that's where all the stuff was.
Yeah, awesome. So I noticed we got some friends saying congrats to you.
Thank you.
Latonia is saying congrats on passing. She's one of our students from last week. And Mr. Jims. Yes, it is live. and we actually had a link for people to join. So yeah, this is good stuff. So the system of using the people, process, business breakdown and having those questions, it's funny, I was just talking to Michelle about this earlier, that part of your milestone should be taking an agile quiz, taking a people, process, business quiz from the learning system, and taking the 180 question, which of course you did. And those are good signs. Vicky, take note of that. Everyone else, take note of that, because those are things you want to make sure that you do to check the box before you actually go into the exam. Good stuff. All right. So let's go back to our deck. We got a few more questions. We have this question which always comes up on how to tackle the ITDOs. You said understand, don't cram.
Right.
And then we've got this one on how to tackle the knowledge areas. And of course, you read the book, but you also told yourself stories.
And
about
your
each
learning
one.
management system.
And the LMS, exactly.
Yes, you got to remember, because on there, after every single chapter, you have a quiz.
Exactly.
So even though I did it before on a 40-day.
Yeah.
I did it before, but I went back and did all of that all over again.
Well done. Well done.
Yeah.
So at the end of every process, there's a quiz. Process quiz, process quiz. Don't skip the quizzes. Do the quizzes for sure. Yeah. All right. And then the exam, navigating the exam. So on average, were you kind of like getting 60 questions done per hour? Or how was it on your exam?
Okay, I think I may have, but at some point I slowed up. But I wanted to say one thing about my exam that I noticed: I didn't have a lot of wordy questions. Oh, and I did have some questions. Oh, something they need to look at on your system. Remember, when you have us on your learning management system, you have it where you can go in and match up the process with whatever it goes with. I can't think of it now. But anyway, I had that type of.
Oh, yeah. Drag and drop.
Drag and drop. Right. So drag and drop. On your drag and drop, I just did that the other day again. I did that several times, but I had drag and drop. I had 2 questions where I had to drag and drop. And I actually had a question where, the burn down.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Burn down chart. Remember the chart? You know the chart.
Yeah.
Agile book.
Right.
Actually, I'm glad that I read those. I understood how to read.
Yeah, the chart.
The charts in here, because I had a chart that I had to read.
There you go. There you go. So I think you've given us a whole lot of information about things that we need to do. We need to check the boxes. Like you showed us the content outline videos that are important to watch. Mastering the knowledge areas, also important to do that, and watch the videos as well. We got these FAQs. You read the PMBOK guide. Yes. How many hours do I need to study daily? Two weeks leading up. It was 6 to 8 hours. How many additional books? None, except PMBOK guide, Agile Practice Guide, and Praizion content. Are formulas a big part?
Nope.
I don't know math very much. No.
No.
Should I delay my exam? I think you've already said it. To Celeste. No, don't. How did you know you were ready for the test? You did all the milestones and you did the quizzes. That's one of the things that really makes me a little bit concerned when folks, they paid for a system, but they're not using all the functionality, all the quizzes. You got to take all of them. There are 49 quizzes, one for each process. And on top of that, we have other tinier quizzes per knowledge area. We have snacks for, we have the meal plan quizzes. Yeah, the snack quizzes, 3 apiece for every knowledge area, 10 for every knowledge area. We have the 180 mock exam. We have many other smaller ones, people, process, business. I mean, we could go on and on. What in your study routine contributed the most to your success, would you say, Latonia?
The good old LMS system and PHILL in my ear every day. But I will definitely say your learning management system, because I had the tools right there for me, and it was up to me to utilize the tools. Yes, I had the books, but just having the books alone, in my opinion, would not have helped me to achieve what I achieved earlier this morning. So I would definitely say to anyone, the learning management system is all I used. I listened to PHILL. He said, that's all we need. And I trusted what he said. And look, I'm a PMP. I'm a PMP. So yeah, it was your learning management system.
Wow. Thank you so much, Latonia. I'm really excited. I wanted to look for our friend Sachin, who you started the journey with.
Yeah.
He's probably going to learn from the group that you have aced it. I'm sure he'll be really,
I'm gonna send him
really
a message.
happy.
I keep sending him a message.
He'll be really delighted for sure. I'm All right, we got a question from Mr. Jims. Mr. Jims, thank you for the question on YouTube. Question is, so there is no more calculation on the exam? I heard there is no more ITTOs as well. It's a big statement. What would you say, Latonia?
You know, they have different exams. I don't know how many.
Thank you.
Only thing I can say is I can only speak for what I encountered today.
Good call.
And I didn't encounter any of what you just shared. I really didn't. You know, I just didn't encounter any. And I was very surprised. I didn't encounter any. No equate, no math. I was ready. None of it. I didn't need to calculate it at one time. So no.
There you heard it, Mr. Mr. Jims. No, none of that stuff. And Latonia is very correct. You cannot base your experience on other people. So very recently, I put out a video. You know how I am. I put out a video and I told PMI, look, I heard from this student that the exam was XYZ. But a lot of other people said, no, that's not how my exam was. My exam was still as crazy as ever. I'm like, oh, okay. So it's funny that we could have 5 people in the same room. One person says, my exam was so easy, it's laughable. And another person says, my exam was a nightmare. I think it's perceptual. Just like we talk about how risk is perceptual, how we talk about people's attitudes. One person says, that's the nicest man I've ever met. And someone says, oh, that's a horrible guy. So we have different perceptions of the same exam. The general consensus, though, is it's a lot easier than it was before. But then I've heard from people that say it still gave me a bad time, So, I think it depends on your level of prep. Like Vicky shared, some people, they're very good with Agile and they're not coming into this exam blind. They know Agile really well inside out. And some other folks, they've never even heard of what a burn up or burn down is. So it's going to be harder for them, And then I also heard a few days ago, a student said, I know a lot of people are saying the exam is like 60% Agile. Well, I think mine was maybe 50. I still had almost as many predictive questions. So there you have it. It's an exam that is a chameleon. It's always changing. And that's why when I train people, I try not to downplay either. I'm like, even though I'm not reading the PMBOK guide for you verbatim, you better go read it. And that's what you did, Latonia. You read the PMBOK guide and you didn't just read it to cram. You understood it, right? You understood the stuff.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So, Mr. Jims, I hope this gives you some perspective as far as what you should do. I think you shouldn't cut any corners. Still go ahead and understand the content, both predictive and Agile. Okay. And of course, hybrid. Like Latonia said, the exam does tell you, okay, in a hybrid world, blah, blah, blah. So it doesn't keep it secret. Good.
But if it helps, I did have a lot of questions related to risk, as well as stakeholders, communicating. I
hear that a lot.
I had a lot of questions around that stakeholders, like your risk, stakeholder management, communication management.
Wow.
I had a lot of questions around that.
Yeah.
And my first couple of questions were all about risk. I was like, oh gosh, I knew I this risk stuff. But
but not ITTO. What is an output of this? What is an
input? No, I didn't have nothing like that. I had something, if I remember correctly, that it gave you a scenario of, let's say I'm right here. What do you do next? So for instance, you could have been in identify stakeholders, and the scenario that they gave you, they was asking, okay, so what do you do next? So, but they didn't outright say, manage stakeholders and manage stakeholder engagement, monitor stakeholder engagement. They didn't exactly do that, but
Okay.
they did give you some clues on what, I mean, you had to figure out what was next.
Yeah, from the language. Gotcha.
From the language. They didn't make it easy, but I was like, oh, you're not gonna fool me with this. I knew I knew where I was at.
Good.
And I hate to say this, I don't want to say the good old initiating, but I knew I was in identify stakeholders. So I knew the next thing was playing stakeholder engagement. That I did. So I had a couple of questions similar to that, but I didn't have anything to ask me about what's the tool and technique for this, or what's the output, or what's the input. I didn't have, for me on my exam, I didn't have anything.
Gotcha. Thank you so much, Latonia. This has been extremely informative. It's also been a celebration. So cheers to your success.
Cheers. I don't have anything, but cheers.
Really excited and really glad because it's brought a lot of our friends we haven't seen for a while here. If there are any further questions, let me just go ahead. Mary, I hope I'm not putting you on the spot, but hey, yeah, I know you're joining us from across the pond there in Germany. So why don't you go ahead and if you got any questions or shout out.
Hey, congratulations.
Thank you, Mary.
I feel so happy to be here and to hear your testimony, and I am confident that I will ace it in my first trial. And the question I wanted to ask is, so you what would be the percentage for the agile? Because I don't really feel confident with the predictive. I'm still going to learn about it, but I'd like to know what the percentage of agile is on. What would you say the percentage is on the exam?
Maybe about a 60-40 or 70-30. It was definitely more agile than predictive. Definitely. Oh, I had a lot of questions. It was a combination between the agile and the hybrid, but I would have to say about 70-30.
That's good to know. There you go. I keep telling people say, Phil, are you sure? I'm like, majority of the people. We've even had some people who say, look, it's definitely not 70. It's probably more like 90. I'm like, no.
And it probably could have been. I don't know. I just know I saw a lot of questions about agile.
Oh, yeah. I've heard a lot of people say everything from 60, 70, 80.
Yeah.
But I only ever heard one student that said it was a 50-50. Just one student ever said like PMI. I think part of the confusion is when you see a hybrid question, it has some agile in it.
Yeah.
So it does look very agile.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to distinguish.
Right.
But knowing agile is going to wildly help you, Mary. That's the bottom line. So I know coming into the course, we've been doing everything. Like this week, we did agile. We had a 2-week accelerator boot camp of agile. And for the past couple of weeks on the course, on the project management masterclass, we've been doing agile. So yeah, the very course you joined us on, Latonia, Mary is on it, the masterclass. So yeah.
Good luck, Mary. You can do it. All of you guys can do it. You gotta tell yourself, I got this. And that's what I kept saying. I put little notes up in front of my little study area to keep telling me, you can do this. You got this. Stay focused. I had to send myself things to make me stay focused, because as we said, we all have shared that life happens and we have to try to maneuver through it and still put this, and this was one thing that was on my to-do list. Wow. And this has been too long of a journey, longer than what I actually thought it, than anticipated being. But at the end of the day, I just had to do it. And, Phil said, what'd you say, Phil? Drink the Kool-Aid.
Drink the Kool-Aid. You got to drink it all up.
And something else he always said that got in my mind, get a good understanding. That's what I kept telling myself. I think he said, good understanding, GUD. So
good. Getting good with it. Get good with it.
So there are certain things that always it was just ringing my head. I just try to motivate myself. And so I did it, and I'm excited. And I would tell anybody, I'm going to always brag on Phil because he did it for me. So
Thank
anytime
you.
you want me to come and talk, just let me know, Phil.
You know, Latonia, and I was actually going to brag on you on LinkedIn. I just couldn't. I'm like, what? I'm
Oh,
not
I don't have an
connected to Latonia.
account. I don't have, you know what? I never took the time. I really should. I'm probably gonna go take the time now. You know, I may have
Yeah, make it a
I have
project.
options in my life. You know, I'm see what I'm gonna go from here. You know, so
You
this
gotta,
is a part, this
you
is a part
gotta,
of my plan.
you
So I
gotta
definitely-
make it.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
make
you-
it a project.
For right now, just put me on Facebook and say, hey, I'm in the crew now.
I did.
Oh,
I
okay.
did. That's
All
why we
right.
have a lot of our friends from the group right here that
Okay.
joined us. Everyone is pretty much in the group. So
Okay,
thank you.
good.
We got one more question, Latonia. You've brought a lot
Sure.
of people to the discussion. I'm really excited that they're all here. Mr. Jims asked, since Agile is now part of the PMP, is PMI still continuing to offer the PMI ACP? Yes, the PMI ACP is a higher level dose of Agile, okay? It will test you on deeper levels of understanding, and it will also test you in some instances in more of the practices, more than you may see on the PMP exam. But from what I've been hearing, nonetheless, a lot of people are beginning to focus more on PMP than ACP. So even though the PMI haven't announced it's going away, some people are not really going for it as much. I think it would be a good exercise. I've been, for it, Roy and I are both ACPs. ACP will test you on the agnostic view of Agile. So no, PMI have not gotten rid of it. The Facebook group is exclusive for people on our programs. So people on our live programs that are from the same classes, that have attended a Zoom conference, those are the folks who are on our group. And it's free from spam. Ain't nobody spamming anyone. It's all about motivation, inspiration, helping each other. And it's just beautiful to see so many folks from at least the past 4 years, 3-4 years who have gotten certified, just seeing how their careers are blossoming as PMPs, and they're getting more and more entrenched into the world of project management, mentoring people, coaching people, helping their firms and their agencies. So yeah, if you want to be part of any of our programs, don't even wait a minute. I don't say this a lot anymore because it's been proven. It's like being a broken record. But Praizion, our website, our system, it works wonders. I truly do believe it is the best. Okay. My friends and competitors, well, just eat your heart out, because that's the truth. So, as far as what we do, what we offer, there you go. Just take a look. Those are some of our clients, honorable clients, many military and government agencies. But I'm telling you, the training we provide, we call our slogan real world project management training solutions. We give you real world examples. I always challenge people, tell me a process that you're stuck on, and we'll explain it for you. Ask Roy anything that you're stuck on in the world of Agile. If you're not freed up in a minute, you're not going to be freed up anywhere else. This is where you need to be, okay? Thank you so much, Latonia. Appreciate you so much. Of course, the professional development units for you giving back to the community are in order. So that certificate will be on the way soon. But thank you very much. I'm really appreciative. And we'll just go ahead and unmute now that we're in great company. So we want to say goodbye to everyone.
Thank you, Phil. I'm going to miss you. I can now get off your system.
Oh,
You can kick me off, Phil. I don't care. Kick me off.
you're funny, Latonia.
You
You're
can just
funny.
go and kick me off now.
No. You got to feed me now.
Oh, you got to
Okay,
feed
you
her.
didn't put your information. You didn't put your information, Vicky. I just
She
looked at it.
actually did. I'll send it to you. And
Okay,
she's
can
going
you
to join
email
the
it?
group.
Okay, email it to me, please, and I will follow up with you.
Okay.
I really will.
Thank you, Latonia. You're the best. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
See
I'm going to
y'all.
go
you.
celebrate for you on your behalf.
All right.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.